Okay, so the directions say for each pair, find a number that multiplies to m, then adds to a. We're going to use a space in the middle to list our factor pairs. So this is what we did yesterday. This is a lesson that we did yesterday. We're going to need to know this information for today's lesson. Okay, so to find my m, my step 1 says I need to list the factor pairs to get to 36. So what numbers can I multiply together to get to 36? But then use those same two numbers and add them together to get 20. So let's start by thinking of our factor pairs. So what are the factor pairs for 36?
1 and 3.
1 and how about 36?
1 and 36.
Okay. Now if I add those two together, will I get 20? Nope, so that doesn't work. Okay, next factor pair.
2 and 18.
2 and 18. If I add those together, will I get 20? Yeah, so there's my first answer. So 2 and 18. If I multiply them, I get my m of 36. If I add them, I get my 20. Okay? Let's just work across here. So m is my 36. My a is 37. Do I already have that information available to me, or do I need to find factor pairs further?
You can just transfer it over to the
Okay, and what is it?
1 and 36.
Good. So if I take 1 times 36, I get 36. And then if I add them, 1 plus 36, I am going to get 37. Good. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. Riley.
Don't you have to find the top one on the M?
We did. The top one is, so you're going to take these two numbers. If I take 1 times 36, I get 36, right? So I have to find my m first. Then with those numbers, I have to be able to add them together to get 37. Okay?
I did the top one.
Yeah, no, they all go together. So you can't do the top one and then something different for the bottom. It has to be the same two numbers. Okay? What are my factor pairs for 48? Well, I know I'm going to start as 1 and 48. What's another factor pair of 48? We want to keep them in order.
2 and 24.
Okay, then what?
3 and 16.
Okay. What about 4 and
4 and 12.
4 and 12?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I need to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look. So I know that if I multiply all these numbers, 4 times 12, I'm going to get 48. 3 times 16, I know I'm going to get 48. They're all going to, when I multiply them out, equal 48. Now, looking at them, do any of them, A, add up to 26?
2 and 24.
2 and 24. Whoa, so 2 and 24.
I got this one down. I just forgot how to move it back. I was thinking.
Okay. Now let's look over on my right side. All these numbers I can multiply together to get 48. Do any of them then add together to equal 19?
Yes.
What?
19.
What?
3 and 16.
3 and 16. Okay. What are my factor pairs for 60?
5, 12.
Nope. I don't like to start my factor pairs like that.
Maybe 5 and 12.
Nope.
That's
You are
16.
right, but I want my factor pairs. So I have 1 and 60. If I add those together, will it equal 17? Nope.
I'll put 5.
Then what do we have?
5,
2 and,
30.
then what?
3 and 20.
If I add those together, will I get 17?
No.
Okay, keep going.
4 and 15. And the answer is 5 and 12.
5 and 12. Y'all agree with them?
Do the challenge.
Who said it first? All right, Maddie? Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to find our factors of 360. With these factors, I'm going to see then what I can add together to get 38.
I
So
did all of them, and then after that I add, which is
That's-
like a little extra.
but that's what I do too. It just helps me to make sure I don't make errors. Okay, so I'm going to start my factor pairs way up here. So I have 1 and 360. Then what?
12 and 30.
Always go, what's 2? 2 times what equals 360?
12 and 30.
Well, I use this. I don't actually.
Okay, do me a favor, take 360 divided by 2.
Calculators, storage. 180.
180? Okay. Well, if we add those together, it's still too many. What's 3 times what equals 360?
I don't even know it.
120? Do you have the answer?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll just keep going through. 4 times what equals 360? So what's 360 divided by 4, you guys?
You guys got this.
Times 4 is 90.
So 4 times 90 will get me to 360. If I add those together, will it equal 38?
No.
Nope. What about 5?
72.
Well, that's definitely not going to equal 38, is it? What about 6?
60.
Will that, when we add those together, will that equal 38?
60.
60. That sounds better. Nope. What about 7?
Nothing.
What about 8?
45.
If I add those two factors together, will I get
No.
38? What about 9?
40.
If I take 9 plus 40, will I get 38?
No.
Okay, 10 and what?
10 and 36.
If I add those two together?
No.
Nope. What about 11?
No.
What about 12?
30. No.
What does that equal? 42? Okay. What about 13?
No.
What about 14? 15?
24.
If I take 15 plus 24, what does that equal?
I have to write this down. I think it equals 39.
So does that work?
No.
Okay. What about 16?
No.
No.
What about 17? What about 18?
Right
40.
answer.
18 and 20? So 18 times 20 will equal 360.
Yes.
And if I add those together, what do I get?
38.
Is that what you got, Maddie?
They're 18 and 20.
Yep.
Yeah, 18, comma 20.
Yep. Oh, yep. Comma. Sorry. Thank you for correcting that.
Okay, now we gotta figure out.
So you,
back.
now, I write out all of my factor pairs. Now, Maddie said I didn't write all those out. That's okay. I just wanted to go through the process of elimination with you guys to show you all the different factor pairs and why it did or did not work. However, if you would ever ask me, like, Miss Lidikin, I don't know how you got this, or I don't know how to get this answer, I'm going to ask to see your factor pairs, okay?
I'll get it wrong
So-
if it's not wrong.
So if you didn't show me all of this work, you would not get it wrong, okay?
What I do, I look at for the n equals like 36. I look for 36, every single 36 on here, and I put a dot on it. And once I get it, I cancel it out, and I see it's like 11:30.
Wondered why you had the dry erase marker. So you have a system.
Yeah.
That's fine. That is fine.
So,
Okay,
about the back.
let's flip it to the back. Do you guys all have this down? The answers? All right, let's take a look at the back. So the back, this is what we did last week. It says factor using the greatest common factor. So what I've given you guys is 15c squared plus 18c. What I want you guys to do is factor that, okay? We're going to factor that by finding the greatest common factor. So how do I find the greatest common factor of these two terms?
Well, we factor tree it.
Okay,
I thought we had to factor tree the bottom.
we're not worried about that one yet. Okay, so what are the factors of 15?
3 and 5.
Okay, and those are prime, so I'm going to circle them. And what are my factors for 18?
3, 3, 3. Or 2, 9. I'm there. 3, 3.
Or you could use 3 and 6 as well. Okay, so then I'm going to stack them. I have 15, I have 18. For 15, I have 3 times 5. For 18, I have 2 times 3 times 3. So what number do they have in common?
Number trace.
Okay, so they have a 3 in common. Then we have to look at our variables. What variable do they have in common?
They have a C.
Okay, so the greatest common factor is 3c. Now, where does this greatest common factor then go on my area model?
I think it's a height.
It is the height. So I'm going to put that as my height, 3c. Now, what else do I know about my area model?
It has a 20C and a 24. So
We have nothing to do with that 20c and that 24 right now.
No.
We're only working with the 15c squared and 18c.
8 equals 15c squared on the first row.
So that's the area, good. So 15c squared, okay. The second? Okay, so now we need to find the I have the height, I have the total area, so now I need to find the what? What am I missing on my area model, you guys?
Length.
The length. So 3c equals, 3c times what equals 15c squared?
5C.
Perfect. Okay, then 3c times what equals 18c?
6.
6. Okay, now I'm ready to write my final answer. So I'm going to put equals. So the 15c squared plus 18c, we know that's my total area because it does not have parentheses. So if area equals, what do I write in for my final answer? What did I just factor? What did I just find? What information?
The length and height.
36C.
So 3c. Then what?
5C. Or would it be 6?
3c. What do I write after the 3c?
Oh,
Parentheses for multiplication. Then what?
thought we already got there.
Then what?
5C. Plus 6. And close.
There you go. So you basically just factor that binomial.
So the next one, we're looking for the greatest common factor.
So the next one, we're looking for the greatest common factor. That is correct. So how would I find the greatest common factor of 20c and 24?
4 times 5.
Okay.
And I love the 20C and 24.
What else? I have 4 times 5.
2.
Okay, and then for 24,
2 and 12.
2 and 12.
for 12,
2 and 6.
and then for 6.
2 and 3.
Okay. Few more prime numbers here. So I have 20. I have 24. So 2 times 5. And then for 24, I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So what do they have in common?
2 2s.
A 2 and a 2, which that equals what then?
4.
And do they have any variables in common?
No.
So my greatest common factor here would be 4.
BC.
No C, because the 24 doesn't have the C.
It's the lowest variable.
So it'd just be 4, right? Now how would I draw this area model?
Well, we would. Are you talking about draw the box?
Mm-hmm.
2 boxes.
2 boxes, because I have 2 terms. Okay. Then what?
The area is 20C.
So the area is 20C, and
24.
what else do I know about it?
The length.
Not the length. I know the greatest common factor represents one on my area model.
The height.
The height. What's my height?
Oh, I thought we already had that.
4. So now we're finding the length. Sorry, I just hadn't written that in yet. So 4 times what equals 20C?
5C.
Okay. 4 times what equals 24? 6. So then my final answer is,
I have to write the box.
yeah, you gotta draw your area model. It can be squished in there like mine. Okay, my final answer then?
4 equals, or 4 parentheses, 5C plus 6 plus parentheses.
Good. What do you guys notice? There's not a lot of room. What do you notice here?
Everything except the area.
So my links are the same. So that's going to kind of build us in or lead us into today's lesson, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a moment.
Wait, is this part of that?